I better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.
It's time for our final team match today here at KDL 2023. My name is Wolf. I'm still joined by Peter. And today is the biggest matchup of the day. Can MIRAENSEJONG top KWANGDONGFREECS with a 2-0? They could take first place in the standings. Any other score and Kwangdong keeps that top spot.
And MIRAENSEJONG is certainly going to be the right opponent for KWANGDONGFREECS to face, as they are challenged for that 5th win if they can get it here. And this roster is just so great. It was such a successful building around Hojin, and there's a lot of old history between the members of MIRAENSEJONG and KWANGDONGFREECS. They were formerly teammates back in Kart Rider League, now brawling it out here in KDL.
Yeah, it's a really good point. That history does exist between these players. KWANGDONGFREECS currently 4-0, the strongest team in KDL preseasons, the best Kart Rider Drift team in our first season here in 2023. Walking out on stage, a win tonight would put them at 5-0. I mean, they only have one match left to actually have the perfect undefeated season. So this is arguably the toughest opponent they've faced yet. Already taken out Sandbox, already taken out Rocks. This team is on the edge of that perfect season heading in as the first seed. But this is the last really big roadblock that stands in their way.
It's certainly a huge roadblock, as now we are going to get ready to take a look at the side of MIRAENSEJONG, see what they have brought us with their little card saying, the dance of victory, let's go.
I'm not even going to get into this meme again, but it's funny, it's happening. If you know, you know. Nox's astonishing first place performance. MIRAENSEJONG achieves the first perfect victory in the main stage. This was, of course, against Desperado. We talked about it just a few days ago. And you can see they're hyped up. Will we be able to go home early today? Last time it said, let's go home early today, and they did. We'll see what they've kind of asked the question a little bit more this time, as they are respecting KWANGDONGFREECS as a very tough opponent here.
It's not likely, for sure, if your opponent is KWANGDONGFREECS, that you're banking on going home early. That's not what KWANGDONGFREECS is here to do. Just looking at their picture together has an aura to them. They are the kings of KDL right now. They just need to prove it here in the regular season. And once again, they are the only undefeated team here in the Kart Rider League. And if they win this one, they may just go undefeated the whole entire time.
Yeah. They are 2 wins away from doing just that, and 5 wins would be what they pick up today, as we discussed earlier. We really and desperately want to win today, no doubt. Keep that first place. Make sure you have that top seed. Very, very important. You'll face the weakest team, the wild card team, in top 4. Whoever ends up winning that wild card match, you'll face them if you have that first seed. So arguably the weakest opponent to get that push into the winners finals. Here are our tracks. So we are going, again, to Handy Harbor. MIRAENSEJONG chose this against Desperado and absolutely destroyed them on it. They've also brought Factory Facility 5. So MIRAENSEJONG is really preparing these wild and unique tracks. I mean, not to say that we never see Handy Harbor. It is getting a little bit more popular. Facility 5, very rare. Sometimes you see it in round 5 and some of the pre-seasons. But these are not common tracks. Whereas KWANGDONGFREECS are sticking to, you know, Brazil Circuit, which is very common these days. It feels like it's the new Terracotta Twister. Terracotta Twister itself, And then that final track, which will be Shanghai Circuit. That's the rarest one they chose, but man, curveballs again here from MIRAENSEJONG, but we're starting things off on World Tour Brazil Circuit.
This is our first round of speed in the most hyped match of the day as we see MIRAENSEJONG off to a phenomenal start. GWANGDONGFREECS locked into 7 and 8.
Yeah, of course, when I said World Tour, I meant WKC. Everybody knows that. Really insane start here for MSJ. Spear going to try to find that angle, but you see how he has to take that conservatively because one mistake there is going to cost you the tire. We saw the same thing with Boong earlier on this very track. World, let's see if he can also find an angle here as Nox blocking has been fantastic all year long. The 1-2 win condition still available. Cool, also very far back here, as you can see.
You can see Hojin getting a lot of good blocks on Cool right now. So MSJ, they have so much room up at the top. The midfield is completely controlled by Nox and Hojin. Spear's trying his best, but Hero's hanging on.
World really needs to hold on to his position. If he falls back, it feels like hopeless. Even if Spear can take first place, there's just no way. You don't actually have the numbers that you need. And the midfield control is so good, but Cool and Sungbin is so far behind. That's why we have that picture-in-picture. You can see Hojin's insane blocking here. And they are catching up, but there's only one lap left to play here. Spear will find this angle, but see, once again, you lose a lot of momentum on the grass here, so hard to hold on to it. Guard is just going to continue to collide with him to allow Hojin to pass through. Hojin no longer content with being the blocker at the back. He wants to actually contest here. 3v1 against Spear.
Hero has so much room right now. He's been constantly ahead of Spear. Now World does show up, applying a lot of pressure over to MSJ. They cannot give the 1-2 over to GWANGDONGFREECS because they are so ahead as long as they don't give that win condition.
Yeah. A Hero here holds first. GWANGDONGFREECS have the advantage right now, though. Cool and Spear making that final push. Great block there from Hero.
Whoa, Cool as well. Nock trying to come in, but World takes first place. Not enough, however. MSJ with the 2-3-4 comeback.
Yeah, looks like Hero passed Spear at the last possible second there. They will win it by 1 point, and this is the close race as we expected to see coming into tonight's final matchup. And it's already delivered here on Brazil. And whew, that was a close one. Down to the wire. World gets first, but Spear drops down, and it's a 2-3-4. Ends up being the win condition, even with Guard being so far behind. Hojin really pulling his weight throughout the entire race to control midfield, and then have that final push here, winning that midfield advantage in 2-3-4. And now we are headed to Handy Harbor, and Handy Harbor is, I made this joke a few days ago, but it's hairpin harbor. It is all hairpin turns all the time. There are some shortcuts. There are 2 shortcuts you can take to cut through the hairpin and take an even narrower hairpin. But the volatility is high. You make a mistake, you're going to drop back to 8th place because you are going to lose so much speed and you have to go straight into another hairpin. So if you're bold enough to take those shortcuts, you could save a lot of time. And most players will attempt it because if you don't, you're taking the longer path. You're going to lose so much speed. But you're often going to collide with other players. It's going to get messy here. We're going to see if MSJ can pull ahead 2-0 or KWANGDONGFREECS on their track pick will tie us up 1-1. Handy Harbor here, the track pick of Kwangdong, or rather of MIRAENSEJONG, and KWANGDONGFREECS gonna have to win on that track to tie things up. Spear with a good start here. Those are those shortcuts, those little cuts you can go through. Very narrow.
You can see a lot of aggressive turns right now. Spear having the lead right now certainly helps out KWANGDONGFREECS. You can see Hero is making sure to keep that pressure applied. Keep in mind, Hojin and Guard are pretty far back. We would need to see exactly how far, but they can't be that far behind.
Yeah. If they are that far behind, they're going to have a big problem. And as you can see, there's the picture-in-picture. Hojin's competing with midfield right now. KWANGDONGFREECS in a really nice position here as we move into the second lap. As Hero's the one who's outnumbered. This very often happens, of course. And he just cannot break through. That's what I'm talking about. You miss that shortcut, goodbye, you're 8th place. This map just doesn't give you any room to make those types of errors.
And look at that, Guangdong Freaks pulling ahead the Spear and Sungbin duo, allowing no room for mistake as Hojin and Guard desperately try to catch up, but they're gonna have only a few opportunities. It's on these turns where they need to catch up to the opponent and try to sweep them, because right now, MSJ is relying on Guangdong Freaks to make a mistake.
That is certainly true. Hojun has taken that line so perfectly, though. Trying to get into draft range, he's made it there. 400 meters to go, and unfortunately, there's just no chance here, even in draft range, which is on the edge of. It's going to be a 1-2 finish here. And before anybody blames Hero, he's playing 1v2 in that moment. He's trying to take the tightest line possible. It is the toughest turn in the current pro track pool, in my opinion. I think it is the toughest turn. It puts Glacier to shame. It is so hard. And beyond that, his team was already behind. He was trying to make that heroic play because his team was super far behind. So I don't want him to get any hate for that. Sungbin, with no pressure on him after Hero's mistake there, though, will take the track record here of Handy Harbor. So that one might stick around for a while. But that's a tough track, and we saw exactly why. Now we're tied up 1-1.
You mentioned previously, Wolf, that MIRAEN and SEJONG, they were able to stomp Desperado on the track Village Handy Harbor, which is why they picked it up. Against a team like Guangdong Freaks, they certainly had the confidence there, but the execution, as you said, Guangdong Freaks just pulled it off better. It was completely unstoppable because Guangdong Freaks made almost no mistakes.
Yeah, it was really clean racing, and the starts matter so much. We're going to that classic, though. World Tour Terracotta Twister here. The winner of this track will pull ahead to match point here for speed. We're tied up 1-1.
Speed round 3 begins here in Terracotta Twister. We've seen this track all the way back since preseason 1. It is an absolute classic, and there's so much room to catch up once you actually enter the tomb section. So this beginning, we see players sometimes opt for building that team booster gauge more.
Yeah, that is definitely true. That's a really good point that you mentioned, Peter, because we have seen that trend change on this patch where the team boost is actually sometimes how you finish here, because the teams are so familiar with this track that in order to get an edge, it's really difficult without it. The Spear actually will recover really nicely from that collision there, pulls back, and is actually going to force his way to the top. Knock passes him, though, as we see those diagonal Sungbin playing with fire.
Great blocking coming out from Guangdong Freaks. Sungbin and Spear pull their weight, but now Knock, he does manage to surpass. Keep in mind, if you look at the minimap, MSJ is in absolute disarray.
Yeah, I mean, Hojun actually had an additional collision after we pulled up that picture. You could see it, and he is really far behind. This one looks pretty over, to be totally frank, unless we see a huge error here. I mean, Hero is trying to get close here to top 4K. And now they have to get 1-2. That is the only way they win this race. I just don't see it happening with Cool here to block.
Yeah, that's the goal for Knock and Hero here, but the task looks really difficult to pull off. Spear and Sungbin looking to build a distance where Knock won't be able to get in for the draft, and certainly Guangdong Freaks doing that well.
Yeah, I mean, they have to pass Sungbin, both of them. And I mean, Hero's getting closer, but there's not a whole lot of track left to play here. Hero blocked again by Spear, because all he has to do is make sure these two racers don't get 1-2, and it's over. That's exactly what he's going to try to do. Hero will pass Spear, but so what? He can't pass Sungbin, and that's going to be it. Guangdong Freaks will win this one and go to match point here on speed. And they are one win away not only of winning speed, but also saving that first place slot for another week. They might still win the series, or might still lose the series rather, but they won't be able to be eliminated eliminated from first unless MIRAENSEJONG wins 2-0.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. Guangdong Freaks looking so good right now here in speed. It feels like after that little shakeup in round 1, they're just back in form, concentrated, because it feels like MSJ, they're making more mistakes than Guangdong Freaks, and it's really hard to catch back up once you make that mistake, because a team like Guangdong Freaks is not going to make a mistake very often.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep our eyes on Hojun and Guard, because 2 back-to-back tracks, they find themselves in 7th and 8th, and you know, you can have that happen, obviously, after losing midfield. You lose midfield control, you drop back there, but you continue to threaten, you continue to be relevant. But 2 tracks in a row, it felt like it was a 2v4 game, unfortunately, for MIRAENSEJONG. Going to have to bounce back. We're going to Facility 5 now, which could be our last race of speed. all eyes on Hojun as the camera is given to him off the starting block here, and we will see if he can recover because he and Guard have taken some risky inners and actually gotten really punished for it. This time it's looking pretty good in this first lap though. It's a single lap track, so shouldn't have said it that way, but you know what I mean. At the start of this race.
Yeah. Hojun is going to fall out of line. He's going to fall back quite a bit. Hero leading the pack here against 4 members of Kwangdong Freeks. So a lot on the line for Nock to catch up, but there's so many members of Kwangdong Freeks lined up.
Yeah, he took a bit of an awkward bounce off that pillar there and dropped back a little bit. He's recovering pretty nicely. Team Nitro going to come out here. But Hero maintains first. They need someone else to break through, though, to top 3, or this just doesn't look viable. Midfield control, though, definitely MIRAENSEJONG. So let's see how well they can push together, use some of those drafts, as we're really nearing the halfway point now of this track.
Hero is doing a great job keeping the dream alive. Guard is going to take an unfortunate collision. Nock really needs to catch up right now because Hero has a nice lead and they need to capitalize off it.
Yeah, he's going to use that Team Nitro, I think, because he needs to actually close the gap here. If he can make top 3, there is a world for them to win it. Cool also.
Oh.
Oof.
World comes in and completely knocks Nock back, and it looks like Kwangdong Freeks with the 2-3-4 control is just gonna win despite Hero coming in first.
2-3-4, a very strong midfield win condition if you have that much power. And once again, Guard and Hojun feeling absent here. It was Nock. After that one collision, there was the only one who could contest for top 3 to win it for them, and then he got pushed back, and that was the end of the story. Despite a really great control from Hero all race long and great racing and even a track record, it doesn't matter. Even if you're, look at how ahead he was. He's nearly a full second ahead. Even if you're that far ahead, you've got to do something with your midfield control, and that's where Kwangdong Freeks just outclass them. And they will keep first place in the standings. All they need to do is to win 3 item tracks to actually take that 5-0 and be 1 series away from the perfect season and our opening season of KDL here.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Kwangdong Freeks, they take the speed win 3-1. Now, they just need to win item to not go to that ace match. And that is certainly what the fans of Kwangdong Freeks would want to see. The defending champions going undefeated here in the regular split.
MIRAENSEJONG really not playing up to, I think, the potential of the players we're talking about here. I mean, Guard, fantastic sweeper, great midfield player, one of the best. I mean, he and Spear, in my mind, are the 2 best, actually, at this position. But he's just getting outclassed by Spear. And now we move into item mode. Let's see where we're headed. We're going to Mushroom Caves first here. Then we're going to Magma Cavern, Misty Falls, World Tour London Night, and then Cemetery Circuit. It is the choice of MIRAENSEJONG. These tracks, just like we saw with Live Sandbox picks, do feel like they want to take that early edge, push for the distance advantage, and look for those types of wins. But it's not necessarily going to happen that way. They need to be very careful about how they approach these, or else they're not going to be contesting for that top spot come the end of regular season.
Meanwhile, the track picks for Kwangdong Freeks certainly telling an opposite story. Rather than playing for the tempo, it seems like they're going for the classic tracks we're used to. More about the item synergies as now we get ready to enter item track number 1 here in Forest Mushroom Caves. And we begin our first round of item between MIRAENSEJONG and Kwangdong Freeks as we see a very early Angel picked up by Sungtin.
Yeah, very early UFO tossed in there, and World will eat it. Guard gets an advantage here with Hojun. Item priority for MIRAENSEJONG, so feeling confident about this one more than being able to win in speed. And, you know, Hojun had his struggles for sure earlier, but he's having a good start here now. Does hold the EMP.
It really looks like MIRAENSEJONG have a pretty good control of that midfield, and given that Mushroom Caves can be played in a tempo way, it is looking pretty good as Kwangdong Freeks, they have a water bomb for response. Hojun's gonna dodge that one.
Knock with a nice shield here. We'll deflect that, but we'll get caught by an EMP, which means it's an opportunity for World to push towards that first place spot. Lots of shields and angels here. Going to be popped as I say it to keep Nock in first. He only gets 1 shield though and doesn't use it correctly there to avoid the water bomb. We'll use it right afterwards, but man, Kwangdong Freaks, they have Sungbin in position. They've got a great set of items. They have a UFO, double Nitro for Spear as well, so he's going to get right into the thick of things in just a moment.
And you can see Sungbin is really stacked on the defensive items right now. You can see now Spear going for the first place spot with his double nitrous. He's holding on to it, and a nice water bomb is going to catch some players from pool.
Yeah, it looked like the timing in which he boosted through, he was able to pick up an additional nitro there, so kept double. Did get hit there though. Will have to drop his shield. Doesn't have a magnet here, just the one nitro. Let's see how good his timing is. Oh, that Wisp pickup is so insanely lucky. 400 meters.
He gets knocked out. Hero, he dodges that water bomb just barely, and the Angel's gonna get popped. The UFO is not going to be enough, and Hero brings home the victory of item round 1 for MSJ.
Massive, massive for Hero there that he avoids that water bomb. If he gets hit by that before the Angel comes out, because the Angel was timed right after that, that's a totally different story. World probably crossed the finish line first, and then KWANGDONG Freaks takes the first one, but he's going just so fast. That water bomb doesn't connect. And MIRAENSEJONG get to put one more on the board here. Very close race, though. And,
yeah.
I mean, they really have figured out how to play this kind of tempo-based style here on these wider, less environmental hazardy tracks where you're not looking for those timings.
Seemed like Hero came in almost 4 seconds sooner than the second place player, and that's the play style we know Hero for. He loves just constantly being in first place, and when you have that strategy working out for MIRAENSEJONG, it can be pretty scary for KWANGDONG Freeks. They were able to beat MSJ in speed because it felt like MSJ was off their form, but perhaps in item mode now, MIRAENSEJONG, they're looking to bring it back as now we get ready to enter the second track of item, and that is going to be Mine Magma Cavern.
See if KWANGDONG Freaks can tie us up here. Mine Magma Cavern will be the choice of KWANGDONG Freaks here in item. Their track selection. Hojun, avoid that barricade. Cool with the nice shield.
Seeing some good dodges coming out from our players as we see Hojun getting slowed down by the UFO. World with a nice pickup there on double shield.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice angle he took there. He used the break. His Spear actually attempts to go for a big alarm play. It totally whiffs. And, you know, he's famous as a sweeper. That wasn't quite the sweep he was looking for.
A bit of an unfortunate one, but Hojun gets a great usage out of his Siren there. Manages to knock out a player off the track. And you can see, it's all about World and Hero contesting for that first place spot.
World double shield. We'll have to use one here, as Knock will actually hit that Siren. And Hero's gap is not that big between him and World. Definitely something that World can catch up here if he gets an aggressive item. He's just not. And the defense here of Hero is quite nice here in the midfield. And now that gap is widening a little bit. Now you've got top 3. Even got the scanner here, which isn't going to be too useful, but...
Wow, look at the minimap. You can see KWANGDONG Freaks so far behind. World is the only hope along with Spear to try to catch up, but Hero, he's really building a gap along with Hojun.
Yeah, and this is exactly how you want to play this. Spear going to use the magnet to try to pull Hojun back, but that's why you have 2. That is massive. That is so huge, because if you just get Hojun with that magnet, Hero pulls through, it doesn't matter. Hero's going to shield that lightning, grabs another shield here. I mean, he's still the hope here for MSJ, but there's definitely a much bigger chance. It used to be great bomb here. Now it just looks like there's too much of a gap to catch up.
Yeah, certainly so. MIRAENSEJONG on a roll right now. World's gonna get caught by that one. Hero looks like he has a free field for himself, and he does go in first place. The lightning does not come in fast enough. MIRAENSEJONG now 2-0 here in item mode.
Yeah, MIRAENSEJONG really looking clean in item today, and that style we saw from them there, where you push 2 up and then they get ahead. It's not quite the style I'm talking about where we saw G-Man attempt earlier, where he gets ahead by himself and tries to pick up shields. This was calculated, this was coordinated. Those 2 front runners were defended. There was item support, and they used the midfield to actually pull Cool and World back. Sungbin as well, struggling to get forward. And then you have just too many backup plans for KWANGDONG Freeks to push through when they use that timing on the 3rd lap specifically. Because otherwise, eventually, somebody's going to get a UFO, somebody's going to knock you down, they might have a lightning, they can make their push through. But no, it just did not happen. MIRAENSEJONG really prepared extremely well coming into item mode today, and maybe they'll sweep it, who knows?
That's what it's looking like here in item. We played 2 tracks, and they both went in the favor of MIRAENSEJONG. Now 1 away from forcing an ace match against Guangdong Freaks here. The track is going to be Forest Misty Falls, and it's picked by MSJ. Let's see what happens here. A 2-star difficulty track for the match point round for MIRAENSEJONG. As we see Guard, he's going to stick behind and pick up Nitrous as well as the Magnet.
Yeah, not exactly what he was looking for, but luckily the Magnet kind of saves it for him so he can get back into the middle of the pack. Guard here currently in first with a Nitrous and no attacking items near him, so great dodge there by Spear. He's just going to kind of hold on to this one, put that shield out. Not going to be useful against the UFO. Unfortunately, that's a really unlucky combo he got hit with there.
That attack is now going to open up so much more room for World and Spear to lead. Now World, he is forcing out so many attacks to come out from MIRAENSEJONG aggressively. In fact, Spear's got 2 shields himself.
Now, if Guangdong Freaks want to use the strategy we saw just moments ago, they're going to have to attack Hojun. They're going to have to put some additional support so that World can actually keep this lead. As you can see on the picture bottom right, the mini-map, he is massively ahead, but he needs support, and that's going to have to come from Spear. That's going to have to come from Cool, because this gap is getting closed, and I just don't think it's going to work out here for Guangdong Freaks. They didn't have the items to support this, and it's all coming out flat now, and now they're way outnumbered, and MIRAENSEJONG looking fantastic here.
They are leading out so far once World fell back. Now it's Guard and Nock looking to lead, and just as you said, Wolf, it seems like Guangdong Freaks don't have a lot of response. They have the magnets, but they need to get within range to target MSJ.
Yeah, Guard also has an EMP available. He's going to use it here to absorb that UFO. And I mean, this is looking really rough here for Guangdong Freaks. Like, the gap is large. The tools they have are very limited. Like, that Wisp that Sungbin has isn't going to be useful at all. And Guard's got shield and EMP. There's nothing that could stop him basically here. Magnet going to come out as well. He's got all the support in the world. And I think this might just be all said and done here. Might be the 3-0 sweep. Hojun gets caught, but Guard, he's so far away. Shield's out. Second shield available. And World only has a water bomb. He's given up. Spear spins out, and I think that's going to be it.
It certainly seems like it. Guard, he's going to get targeted down by the UFO, but look at the map. There's no players nearby, and Guard finishes off item round 3 in first. That is 3-0 for MSJ. They're able to bring it back here in item.
That is some of the cleanest item play on this patch that I have ever seen. Both those last tracks were so clean from MSJ, and they did basically the same style twice. One on their opponent's map pick, one on theirs. And what Guangdong Freaks tried to do was very similar, right? When they were actually in the lead, they had World way up there. He had a huge advantage, but they didn't understand how to support him as well. And obviously, you can't always choose when you have that advantage, but those at MIRAENSEJONG, they're always pulling up like that right on that third lap. They've got their items stacked up to support those top 2 players, and that was scary. We are going to an ace match, and it's wild. You know, we expected this to happen, but it was dominance from Guangdong Freaks on speed, dominance from MSJ in item mode, and both these players are both these teams are super teams. I think Guangdong Freaks has so many players they could choose from here. You could literally put anyone on the track, and I'd be like, yep, I agree with that choice. I think they'll probably go with Cooler World. On the side of MSJ, it's got to be Hero, right? I feel like even though Hojun is the Emperor and he has the experience and he has looked great in solos, I feel like Hero is your man here. That's my take. What do you think, Peter?
Well, MIRAENSEJONG, they played in 2 ace matches so far this season, and one time it was Guard against Diamond. Guard lost that one, and then next up it was Hojun against Looning, and Hojun won. So you kind of have to think maybe Hojun's going to come out again because he's already done it once, but just as you put it, Hero is a phenomenal ace match player. He's known for being able to stay ahead so well, so I think it's going to go down to who's feeling more confident today.
Yeah. The Guard choice, I remember that track as well against Diamond. He kind of choked, and it was a really sad one. That's the one loss they had. We're going to get the reveal here in just a moment. First, the track. My favorite track, Glacier Extreme Stadium, the one that's got everything. It's got hairpins, it's got some really tight turns early, it's got wide open patches where your lines matter a lot. It is one of the biggest test tracks you can have in a 1v1 in the ace match. The player reveal, Drum roll, who's it gonna be? Is it Cool coming out? Is it World? Are we gonna have Hojun? Are they giving Guard another chance? It's gonna be Hero versus World. A sick matchup. Couldn't have asked for more in this series. The stakes are so high. Even if MSJ win this, they can't take first place, but they will be right on the heels of KWANGDONG so it is still so important.
You called it, Wolf. You knew Hero. It was his time to shine and come out in the ace match. And if any of you guys, the viewers, missed the preseasons, World has been so good at ace matches that he's been competing for that ace match king spot with Jung, who's no longer here, but now he's got to prove himself yet again here against Hero as we enter our ace match. The map is Glacier Extreme Stadium.
It's an ace match. MIRAENSEJONG up against KWANGDONGFREECS. Our top two teams here at KDL 2023 are going to battle it out. Hero, chosen by MIRAENSEJONG, has the lead. World, you mentioned it earlier, one of the best ace match players we've seen in Cartwright Drift. And it's so close already out the gates here.
You can see World just so calm and collected. Actually, both players having a pretty similar heartbeat. You know, it goes really high when you have these ace matches.
Oh, it certainly does. World with some cuts there to try to block Hero and build some additional Nitro gauge. The Nitro almost dead even between these two right now, but Hero does take the lead. Hairpins are always where we see one of those players attempt to do something risky. The one who's behind usually has to take the riskier line. World will do just that, but Hero matches him and blocks him. And even takes a safer one there. He's not going to gain too much distance here, and Hero maintains the lead.
Hero went in for the left side there to try to block World out, but World had a nice read on that. He went for the right build, and now Hero, you can see him building a lot of booster gauge, taking the aggressive cuts, utilizing his advantage.
Yeah, he's got about a 20% Nitro gauge advantage right now. You can see that on top left when they do get those. And his blocks have been pretty fantastic. World is so good at holding his leads, but he's not, I think, as good at passing. I say that, he does get the pass, he does use his Nitro early and wants to actually control these lines here. That was a risky call from him, but it may pay off if he can also defend. Like I said, he's so good at defending his leads. Now, he took a great risk. That was a great strategy. Let's see if it pays off here as they move into the second hairpin turn.
World having a great read on his opponent right now. Hero, however, he took the line that gave him the lead. Now World, he responds with a twist of his own, and now World is the one in the lead.
Okay, here we go. Final 500 meters here. Hero boosts early to try to take the line. Is it enough? It's so close, but World, he still has that Nitro, and you just can't pass this guy. You just can't pass World. If he takes the lead, he is never going to give it away. That was a really fun ace match, though. One of the more competitive ones we've seen here. But World will take it. KWANGDONGFREECS 5-0, still undefeated. One race left, and they might have the perfect season. And World, he handled that so well, but you got to give credit to Hero as well with his jump there. The boost, the line he took, he nitroed early, hoping that would give him just enough of an edge, but it wasn't to be. 36 boosts apiece, but that final boost for World is what crosses the finish line first.
I loved the cuts coming out from World near the end there. He had a really great read on Hero, and it was so close, as you said, Wolf. Off that jump, it felt like it could go either way, but World just had a better read this time, and Hero, you can see, he's motioning to the camera that he's sad, but MIRAENSEJONG, they're having a phenomenal season so far, so a loss against a team like KWANGDONGFREECS, I'm sure is not going to upset them too much.
Yeah, I mean, I think the weight is not really on Hero's shoulders here. I think, you know, if you want to look back at what went wrong, I think a lot of it was in speed mode, where we saw a bit of an underperformance from Guard and Hojun there, and item was fantastic. That was some of the best item I've seen since I started casting Cartwriter. The ace match, though, like, I mean, Hero, he raced well. You know, I think that's why I had the kind of joking cry face, because he's like, I didn't win it, but this one's not on me. I played well, but I respect my opponent because he was better today. And wow, this series, we knew it was going to be good, but I think it really, really, really delivered. And who knows? You know, if MIRAENSEJONG can make some potential changes for their speed mode, they could be the team that goes to the finals. This might be a preview of what we actually see in our first KDL finals here in 2023.
That's exactly right, Wolf. This is indeed the preview of the finals currently, because these two are our very best teams in KDL currently. And this time, MIRAENSEJONG, they're unable to take down KWANGDONGFREECS, but if they can just improve speed, then they might just take the whole entire match with 2-0 in sets. Not even that. The ace match was so close that next time they face off, it could certainly go in the favor of MIRAENSEJONG. But today, Kwangdong Freaks is here to smile, and they delivered us one banger of a match.
Yeah. That one boost from World where he was just like, that's it, I have to pass him right now, right before this turn, and then I can defend it. That was so sick. All these players are so good. And with our, new changed format for solo finals, we have those really tight battles there at the end, and that's World's forte. Cool, very good at this as well. World, as you mentioned in preseason 2 especially, really was the carry for Kwangdong Freaks in the rare cases where they did have ace matches, because it was quite rare. Really pulling his weight, and there's only one match left for Kwangdong Freaks. So if they get that perfect season, even if they don't win the tournament, like, they're going to be able to say that they're in the first KDL season didn't lose to anybody in regular season, and that is pretty awesome to say.
That would be pretty crazy. But now MIRAENSEJONG, off this loss, they are going to be 3-2 in the standings. So now they are tied up with so many teams. There's Live Sandbox, there's Desperado, Seongnam Rocks. 4 teams are sitting in 3-2 right now. So this last push for postseason is going to be really intense.
It is going to be really intense. And let's take a look at today's results to kind of remind you guys of where we started before we got to that very tense ending. We did have Desperado crush always. They only were able to take one set of item there, unfortunately. Pretty one-sided affair.
Yeah, this was probably the most one-sided match we've had today. And Desperado, off that, they are in the playoffs contention. Our only amateur team to be 3-2 right now, so a great day for them there. But honestly, for Team Always, it just feels like they need to work on their support for Diamond.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, Diamond can't do it all alone. There's always a lot to work on. Maybe you'll learn something in your next match. Maybe you'll qualify for next season. But yeah, there's still improvements that need to be made. Desperado looking very good. In our second series, we had a pretty close series, actually. Like, Live Sandbox did do very well in speed, but Item went down to the wire, went to that 5th one. It looked very likely we were going to go to an ace match, but ultimately Live Sandbox stopped that from happening. They took the 2-0. I think it was a statement win for Live Sandbox. It does feel like, okay, they're back a little bit, as you were saying. But I'm also feeling like it's not like they looked good, but Rocks didn't look bad, and Live Sandbox didn't look massively better than Rocks, if you know what I mean. So Seongnam Rocks definitely, I think, could upset them if they face off in postseason, for example.
Just as you put it, if you look at the round scores, it looked one-sided maybe for Live Sandbox, but Rocks, they put up such a good fight that we can say both teams were really well matched. But then our last match of the day, I think a lot of people were just kind of expecting a really close match, and it really delivered.
Yeah, it really did. Final match was crazy good, and the highest level play we've seen, honestly. And here it is. 3-1 for Kwangdong Freaks with some disappointing midfield from MIRAENSEJONG, but Kwangdong Freaks, they looked clean. We go to Item, some of the best Item I've ever seen. I know I sound like a broken record on that, but I'm pretty clear about this. I prefer speed to Item. Like, that's the mode I like more.
Yep.
But MIRAENSEJONG makes me want to watch some more Item mode. That was really, really awesome to see. The ace match, very close. Great racing from both racers, but World, he took a risk. It paid off. He won the race off of it.
You definitely got to give props where it's due, right? I mean, like you said, you keep mentioning that MIRAENSEJONG had a phenomenal performance in Item, but it was just that good that it needs to be re-emphasized multiple times. And it was off their great Item that they got a chance in the ace match. It was really close, and I'm really excited to see them play each other again.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we talk about Item stats a lot, and Desperado got a lot of hype for their Item win rate. We talked about that a lot. Then they got crushed by MIRAENSEJONG and Item. And everyone's like, wait a minute, like, they always win Item. And then MIRAENSEJONG crushes them. But nobody was really talking about, like, how good is MSJ at Item mode, actually? They crushed the other good Item mode team. Then you watch them do that. You watch them do this. That's 6 in a row they have now on Items in their last 2 series. They figured out this meta very quickly, and now other teams are trying to catch up. You saw Kwangdong emulating it a little bit in that 3rd track, but they just couldn't get their heads around it. And with our format, with Item being weighted 50-50 with speed, you've got to have that in your wheelhouse. And this makes MIRAENSEJONG such a terrifying team because you know that against almost anybody, they could force an ace match if they play like that.
Yeah, that's 9 round wins in a row for Item for MIRAENSEJONG. Gonna put them at 12 rounds in total. So they are pretty firmly in second place off of that round and set advantage over teams like Live Sandbox, Songnam Rocks, Desperado. And it's going to be really tough, especially for teams like Desperado and Nutmite. I feel like these two teams are the ones fighting for that spot in wildcard.
And one mistake from Songnam Rocks, and maybe they also drop down the wild card. Like, they're not secured by any means. We have straight up 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at 3-2 right now. Look at the set difference. 3-2-2-2. Like, it's really just one away. And yes, obviously that will make the rounds very important, but it is very close in the middle of the pack. Any mistakes, you know, or you win a series but you didn't go to the, or you went to the ace match, won in the ace, but you didn't win 2-0, might actually cost you some of those seedings, and of course, potentially that spot in top 4 so you can avoid the wild card match. So here is what we have coming up on Saturdays. Same time, 6 p.m. Live Sandbox versus Nutmite. We have a clear favorite in both of our series as KWANGDONGFREECS will then take on Always. And I actually was trying to look up who KWANGDONG's last team was. I couldn't find it in time, and I was like, oh, we'll talk about it next week. Now we know. It's Always, so they're going to look for the 6-0 here. They're massively favored. And we move to the solo match. It's the redemption match. So all of the players who were just on the edge, they didn't quite qualify for the next round, but they didn't get eliminated. It's a stacked group of death. Ding, Squad, Hero, Striker, Scald, Will, Hong, and Woojoo.
Yeah, these are definitely players that deserve a spot in our solo matches, so this redemption match is going to be huge. So we are really excited for this Saturday. You know, it's going to be our final day of the regular season, before we get into the postseason, that is, and the team match just continues.
Fantastic day of KDL here with you, Peter. I'm glad you were by my side. We'll see you guys, of course, again on Saturday, 6 p.m. Be there.
Check if my name in your mouth, better add the respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm bad to the bone.